did you want both, or we just do one
I think
on
we'll do
Monday?
both if that's okay, but tomorrow might just be, I don't know if, am I cutting into somebody else potentially having time with you tomorrow at 1, or am I, or, at 6,
Uh,
or am I,
uh,
is, or,
no, no, but
okay.
I do have somebody. I gotta admit, now that I'm looking at my calendar,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what I got at 2:30, which is 5:30 your time, finishes in half an hour. So maybe I shouldn't
Well,
promise it,
no, don't. It's
not
not gonna
knowing.
be a promise. It'll just be like tentative. Like if something
Okay.
changes, cool. If it goes past 6, I guess I don't. It's Friday, right? So like,
Hmm.
if you'd rather be out doing something else at that time, or if you're working anyways, and I'd fill a slot there, then I'll. I appreciate it. So whatever we can do tomorrow, I'm not gonna hold you to a time, but maybe if that thing is going long, we can just do it once you're done, and then maybe spend
Hmm.
15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. I appreciate everything. So,
Okay.
whatever you can do
We'll
for
plan.
me is I'm grateful for.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah, no, we'll plan
Cool.
on that then. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started then. So today, which I believe you've already figured it out, let me just come over here really quick and cheat a little.
Yep.
Yeah, you already kind of figured out how to do labor, but you tell you what, let's go through the motions just to, cover everything, make sure get any questions answered that you may
Yep.
have. So, is there one I could possibly do? And we can delete it at the end if you want, as far as labor assignment.
Oh, one that we should be doing for labor assignment. Would you like to do
Yeah.
something that's like bigger?
Uh, yeah, as long as it's got body and for finish, but yeah, something a little
Yeah.
bigger would
Let's
would
pick the
work.
1427 because like when I left the shop just now, we're like
Okay,
almost to the point where we're detailing that car. Like that thing's pretty much together.
gotcha.
So I got to do this at some point, anyways. So.
All right, so we're going to head on here to the labor tab.
Yep.
So when you first go into the labor tab, like the other one, the parts one, it defaults to summary off the bat, so we know what our labor mix is. I still remember what you were telling me about pre and post scan and how you wanted to track it.
Yes.
So let's see if we don't do this now. It might be the tomorrow or the Monday thing. We'll go with it, but it has kind of stayed at the top of my mind right there. Okay. I bring up pre and post scan because in lots of people's worlds now, in the old days it was body refinish, big job, body refinish, mechanical frame, right?
Right.
And now we're seeing mechanical more and more, mostly because of pre and post scan. So not sure what our world's going to look like, but we'll certainly discuss it out a little more.
Yep.
Um, at the end of the day, this over here is pretty much going to equal this over here. And if we have any hourly people on it, that over there. Okay.
Yep.
So assigning labor, super duper easy. Many different ways we can go about it, right? Here, outside the RO, different
Yep.
areas. But we'll show you from here. We always want to go with body first for a particular reason. So would Eric be my person, or who should I go
Yeah.
for
So
here?
can I throw a little curveball at you on this one in
Mm-hmm.
particular?
Yep.
So because
Yes.
this happens a lot, right? So like when we were painting this thing last week, like we were supposed to have it ready for paint for my painter, and
Hmm.
the headliner wasn't dropped fully, the roof rack wasn't off of it, the fuel pocket wasn't out. So what I did was I came back one night after dinner after I put my kids to bed, and
Hmm.
I did some of these labor options, right? So like I did some of them to get it ready for paint. So my question is this something we can do? Like, can we put me on 50% of some of these? Like, and then put Eric on 50% of some of them, just for the sake of just learning how to do stuff like that, like splitting labor. Because there are some times where somebody else tears it apart and another person puts it together. So, like,
Hmm.
can we take that line item, like remove and install the headliner, right? So
Yep.
RO hours are 2. Can I give Eric 1 hour and me 1 hour, like split it 50-50?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's go through a couple of different options right here.
Yep.
So first off, I do see you right there, right?
Yep.
We can create a team. Let's go ahead and leave that one for the last
Yep,
discussion here.
I saw how to
Uh,
make teams, and I just haven't got there yet. But it's similar to Synergy, the program I'm using, where you can make labor teams and set up
yep.
percentages in there, and you can make as many combinations as you want. So I think I understand that a
Ex-
little bit. Yep.
Yep, and you said you might even want to do that, especially knowing, the different makeups, like you said, different
I'd
combinations
love
going
to do
on.
that because sometimes I'm painting stuff, sometimes I'm polishing stuff. Like I'm all over the shop,
Hmm.
right? So like everybody's pretty universal. So we kind of just I'd like to make sure whoever's doing what is like, when you work as a team, it's one thing to split all the hours together, right? But you got people who don't pull their weight, just like we used to do in school, right? Like
Hmm.
class projects, right? So like this is a
Right.
good way to like for me to just allocate who did what, And then you could really see, like, I think a lot of corporate shops don't really take into consideration the team thing. You know, people get upset because somebody's doing more than the other. But I like this
Hmm.
because I could look at a report and be like, all right, that person is doing this amount of hours, that person's doing this amount of hours. You can kind of see who's really
Hmm.
pulling the weight, right? So,
Exactly.
yep,
So teams do kind of conquered it. We can still talk more about it, but on the fly, what you can do is go here and let's say you're like, you know what? I'm doing 50 and Eric's going to do 50.
yep,
We come over here. Okay, we'll just go ahead and go for body and notice how it tries to splice out, if you will, or split out roughly about 50%. The system's smart, but it's, it's trying.
can only do what it
So
can.
let's just
Yeah,
say, yeah, it can only do what it can. You get into these real small numbers, it doesn't how's it going to split a point one, I guess is what I'm getting at.
yep,
So, it certainly is going to give it a good old college try type deal. That is one option. And then what we could do is say, okay, well, let's just go ahead and save in you, and then we'll go for Eric over here.
okay.
All right. And I don't technically need to do the 50%, but
Because
you
there's only
could, and
so
it's
much
supposed to be
left, right? Okay.
correct. Yep, exactly. So now I'm going to come over here, hand him off the rest. It picked up on the rest of the lines just like that. We're done.
That's cool. Okay.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about a different scenario. So I'm going to come back over here and kind of wipe us out just so we
That's
can
cool.
start.
Yep.
All right, so we'll come over here. Can you do things line by, by line by line? You definitely can. And so let's say we go for you and you're like, well, I'm doing the bigger stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and certainly you could do this to group it together,
Cool.
have a
I like
better
that. Okay.
bird's eye view, on what's happening right there and say to yourself, okay, well, when it comes to, like I'm definitely tackling, let's see, okay,
Oh, I
and the
lost.
reason why I wanted to show you this as well was because you could come over here and either uncheck it, dive it down, as much as you want to, point two, point one, or whatever. I remember you telling me that Eric, if I remember, he's doing the beginning, right? Like tear down and then, putting it back.
Yep.
So R&Ing basically. You could feasibly, decide to do this sort of thing, and now we're kind of like checking out and seeing all the R&I
Right.
as
Just
well right
make it
there.
faster for you to just kind of punch through all that.
It is, but gosh, I have to tell you, check, 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 marking away. It can kind of get to you having to manually splice. I feel like the team or what we're seeing right here
Yeah.
really might be our better way to go.
Okay. Yeah, and I like that.
Okay. Okay, but I did want to show you like all different ways. We definitely got a couple going on.
Yeah.
So this one, is it okay to put the 50-50, or do you want to take over and tell me I'm not
Yeah, I
sure
was
what
gonna say we
happened
don't
on
have to
this.
spend too much time on this now. They know how to do it, but yeah, I could definitely, if you don't mind, take the pointer and just
Yep, go for it.
okay,
You got it.
just so I can see if I can do it. So, because basically, there's only a few things that I know I did.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do this, so it's set up on my name, right? So I'm gonna do this,
Mm-hmm.
this, this. Whoops. So, um, I can do this with myself more than once, right? Like you could do like I could do
Mm-hmm.
another labor assignment for myself, right? And it just keeps adding it. Like it doesn't matter if you do more than one.
Not really. So you know what happens is that you have one assignment, labor assignment for you. Let's
Okay.
say you're like, oh, I actually did do more. You wouldn't necessarily create another one. You would come back to this one and edit it and add to it.
Well, cause like I'm looking at it now and I'm just thinking on the fly, like all of this stuff here, the first four I selected, I did
Mm-hmm.
50% of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say for example this quarter glass, I did the entire thing. Like
Hmm.
how could you allocate 100 to this? Would you just
Oh,
change it here over here and just do this?
yeah, change
Okay.
it. And I've never tried doing it midway, but change it to 100 now and let's see if
So if it updates
it'll pick
everything.
up on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops.
Not everything, but everything going forward. So
Yep.
let's
Yep.
type the 1.0 right here. So at least we could,
Yep.
or
Uh,
uncheck it.
yep. Oh, uncheck it and yep. Okay. So then we'll change this. How do you change this to 100? Oh, you just gotta highlight.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. All right. And then if I check this, let's see if it changes the other things. No, it doesn't. Okay. Cool. All
Okay.
right. That answers that question. So then, once I check everything I'm doing, 50. Like this is all 50% still, right? So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so and you can't make this like 0.15, right? Like that just
No, it doesn't go
Okay,
up to the hundredth,
that's
just
cool.
the tenth.
That's cool. Okay, and then I would save this and close. So like, what would comments be here? Like just reasons why you did what you did for that labor assignment. If anybody ever had to look back.
Yes and no. It's more for the technician. Like I would say, the two reasons I'd use it for: hold on to the old parts for the customer.
Gotcha.
See me about the bumper,
So this shows
or
up on like a
in your case,
technician worksheet then, in that case?
correct? Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
got it. Okay, cool.
Yes. So
All right,
anything special, I suppose, for them. Let's take a look and say, I think you already saw how it prints out basically. And heads up, this will show up on their mobile app. So,
cool.
if you wanted to, yeah, just
Yeah,
take a
so let me
quick
put a
gander
note
at
in
it.
here real quick, like add to, or I'm trying to think of like just some note, like test note. I just want to see
Hmm.
how that looks. Okay, so comments here. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this is basically what I just did for myself for labor, like right?
Hmm.
Okay, so work
Yep.
order for Michael Burkholder Jr. Okay, and then I initial on all these that I did them, like
Yep.
if I were a tech, right? Okay.
Yes. And it will show up on their mobile app as well. Okay. So
Okay.
they can head on over to their mobile app, do the Fast ID, drop into the RO, go to work, and kind of see what's happening.
Okay.
I remember somebody telling me once, he's like, "What am I going to do?" He's like, "My wife, she depends on the paper, she like, because they didn't want to give him paper anymore, which he
Right.
was so used to it, and his wife kept track of the accounting. That was her thing. She's like, "What do you mean you're not going to show up with it?" I'm like, "Just take the phone to her." I'm like, she can sit there and she can start going through your files, but I could see where he was coming from,
Right.
used
Right.
to paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paper. I still like paper sometimes too. You know. But
Exactly. Let's talk about why I had to go to the body though first. Let's go ahead and double click here. I don't think it's going to make as big a deal knowing how your structure work. It really is something of a team mentality, but still paid by flag hour. But scroll down towards the bottom for me if you could. There are definitely some things that might be defaulting, to body,
yeah,
okay, because
it
of
could
how
be
we
a
write
paint
it.
operation, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Once we start getting, so that one's actually good, but with that one, maybe not. So once you make a decision on how you want to divvy this up, like I didn't ask you enough about color, sand, and buff. Does the paint or the painters team
So
take care of
It's
that, or is it
funny
a
you asked right
detail?
now because like right now I don't have a prepper. I just have a painter and I overload them. So I usually sand and buff stuff, or Eric
Mm,
does. So
okay.
so yeah, for right now it's like one thing that we take. But it's like another thing too, where it's like I need to start writing better estimates per panel because like color sand and buff like zero point 0.5 of an hour we might
Yeah.
spend depending on the paint job we might spend 3-4 hours sometimes depending on how clean or dirty it is, right? So
Yep, exactly. And line item mapping is something I'd like to maybe we tackle with you tomorrow. Once I show you just a few and how to tackle it, this stuff will start in the future, going forward, pointing to where it really should
and
go.
that's what I want
Um,
because right now it's like if I write like I didn't write this supplement. I had a
mhm,
friend that works at a corporate shop during the day write it and is an insurance adjuster experience too. So like I
mhm,
call it fluff. There's just a lot of fluff on here, and
mhm.
I like to condense it more and just it's kind of like one of the things they know what appeases the insurance companies, but I usually change it up to what I really did and just get paid for what for items that I'm really doing, right? Which all this stuff's
Yep.
cool, but yeah, if we can map it, that'd be great.
Yep, yeah, we'll concentrate on that in the future.
Yep.
So that would have been one thing. And just a heads up, just like what we did back over in parts, if I do indeed change it from something to something, that little window comes up. We got to say yes. That way on the back end, at least things are pointing to the right area. And this is where I was saying, reporting right now is going to be great, and that's almost like tightening the bolt, like
Yep.
getting this stuff, but there's a way to do it, and we might as well just start doing it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So let me
Let's go
ask you
ahead and.
something. If I change something on here, like let's say I take this cover. Oh, that's in the right spot. Let's say I take
Mhm,
this and change it to refinish, like corrosion
mhm.
protection. So
Yep.
it's like changes the labor on this line is updated the cost account to the refinished paint. Do you want to update the sales account to refinished paint? So let's say I said
Mhm.
yes, right?
Yep.
Now that changes the way it's costed, but on the actual estimate, it's still a body operation. Am I right? In that like it
Correct.
doesn't
Yep.
change it on the estimate. Okay.
Exactly. We're not adding more paint materials all of a sudden or stuff like that. Nope. All on the back end.
Okay.
Yeah, not adding more paint materials, just estimate tab looks exactly right. And that's why we do so much of this on, the back end. And that's kind of why I have you tackle body before we even go to paint, because this type of stuff is the stuff that probably we need to flip from body to paint.
Yep.
Usually you don't go the other way. Seldom will I ever write something in paint and go, oh, that really goes to,
Yeah,
body.
and a lot of insurance adjusters that make changes to my estimates, like an open shop, they want to change
Hmm.
things from refinish to paint due to the materials calculation. You know, like that's their way of
Oh
like,
no,
let's get the money down, because
they're cheap.
they are. And every time you add, you add something that's a refinish, it adds to some materials. And then if I pull an RMC sheet too, like a Mitchell guide that I pull on
Mhm.
I pull a lot of those sheets on some of these insurance companies that don't want to pay even close to my labor rate, and it helps me get closer. But yeah, they definitely are trying
Yeah,
to take down those refinish hours as much as they can.
they are. We have to fight the good fight. So you keep it up right there, but
Yep.
hopefully one day we don't have to do it as much.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and save and close out of here. So normally you would have done paint next, and let me show you something. Okay, so I've been showing you how to print along the way, and it remains to be seen whether you will truly be giving out our hard copies. Like I'm not sure how your team rules or what they like, but if
I
you
like
click
hard
over
copies
here,
sometimes just because then they have a stack. Like I can just say, hey, these are all the ones I gave you this week. Let me go through them,
mm,
But yeah, go ahead.
exactly. Now, I know that sometimes people have one copy that hangs out with the car, and many people would put the whole estimate, right? They're like, well, that hangs with the car, that way everybody, if they lose their copy, they kind of know what's what. With the format I've been showing you so far is this one, basically like one technician per page, if you will. But this one, let's go take a look at that one. This is the one that some people choose to throw in the car. Now, it's not a great example because I actually didn't assign my painter or anybody else,
Yep.
but it would have gone immediately into Eric,
I
and then it would have
I
gone immediately into the painter.
I
Yep,
printed one of those the other day just to see what it looked like. I print to PDF, and I saw it
nice.
listed everybody on there on the sheet, so you could see the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yep, cool. So you know about that one. Let's go ahead and click on close. Okay, so refresh my memory. I gotta admit, I've been training a
No,
couple of
that's okay.
people today. Your people are paid some by the flag, some by hourly,
Yep,
right? Or was
yep.
it all hourly?
Some
Okay,
flag, some hourly. Yep.
gotcha. All right, let's force an example here. So this one, it's not even completely assigned out. How about we assign your painter and then we over allocate it, just so I can show you something.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do a
Yep.
new labor
Yep.
assignment for the painter.
Okay. And then we can organize this by paint, right?
You can go to reverse too. Yep, exactly.
Yep. Okay. So we just is there a way to
Yeah.
just select the paint? I thought you showed me. Oh, yep, there it is.
Yep.
Yep.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And tell you what, let's go ahead and say that this one was like 1.5 right there. Just something to throw a little bit over.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And tell you what, let's go ahead and save and close. Okay. I'm going to save that for an example for later. Let's talk, and I'm probably going to get a little more into our pre and post scan just a little bit more right
Okay.
now. Let's come over here into our estimate tab. Okay. So I actually didn't see pre and post unless it was here's a dollar figure. I'm not sure.
Right here.
Oh,
60.
there it is.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. So what I wanted to show you is something that George mentioned the other day. It's called sales adjustment. So if you swing over here to work file, all
Yep.
right, and go to new sales adjustment, what sales adjustment does is it's a way to move things between accounts on the back end. And I'll give you the two great big reasons why we do it. Well, probably three. Okay. The first reason is let's say you're doing a quarter panel, you're replacing it. So R&Ing the back glass, where the quarter is included, right? In that great big 22, 23, whatever, the great big hours, right? So a lot of people are like, okay, well, so what do? I guess I'm going to knock it down from 22 to 20, create a line for the 2 hours so that I could hold it back for the sublet because I'm going to have to pay out to the glass vendor. That's one way of doing it, but insurance companies don't like it, right? Because they're seeing it all on the front end. It underlines it. They're like, whoa, what happened? So that would have been a reason to do something like this. And typically people do the first one and the third one. So whenever you see parts, I want you to think dollars. Am I doing dollars to labor or labor to dollars? And the
Gotcha.
example I just gave with the quarter panel would have been a good example to do that.
Now, what you mean is like a
Okay.
quarter panel operation that includes R&I the glass in the operation, so you can't really bill separately for it, but you need to take it away from the body tech who may not be doing it himself. Is that the
Correct.
example you made?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so that would have been a case to do that. Let's talk about a second example. And it wouldn't really apply too much to you, but sometimes you're on a DRP, your contract stipulates that they're going to give you like $149.95, for a four-wheel alignment. And that's always the price. And you're like, well, we do it in-house. I'd really like to just get like, 1.8 or whatever.
Yeah,
And they're like, well, that's our agreement. So that would have been a case to use this, where I'm going to switch and convert that 149.95
into a labor time.
into, yeah, labor time, because we know the math may not work out exactly. And once again, it's all on the back end. Okay. What might be a third reason? And a third reason is kind of a no-no, but it happens every now and again. I have had people who say, well, you know what, we fixed that on our own. It was something maybe we were supposed to replace, or we have it down for
Yep.
sublet dollars, but we did it more in-house. So people do this and then assign it to the in-house tech.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
honestly, for me, like if I was gonna repair something when it was written to replace, I would switch it on the estimate. So that makes sense why you're saying it's a no-no. I would just switch it on the estimate, so that because it's usually like I give the customer usually makes that call, right? So
hmm
and then usually it resolves in like them saving money. So like my estimate reflects what we did, not what was paid. I guess paid for.
hmm
So that makes sense.
Yep. Now, George mentioned that I think that's what they're doing down there at Classic, I
Classic.
think it is. Yeah, where he's at. So apparently they grabbed these two right here and they would have converted that money, into dollars, I'm sorry, into labor, and then they would have assigned it to the in-house tech. So
Okay.
they're keeping it all, inside in-house, and not paying out a technician. And what that does is that also avoids them from having to quote unquote cost out that line. Now it's no longer dollars where we're all going, well, where's the invoice for it? Well, there is
Right.
no invoice,
Yeah.
So
So it goes to the
that,
in-house tech. Now, let me ask you this: if you're costing it or you're pushing it to the in-house tech, like you're trading it from parts to labor, that's basically what you're doing
mhm,
with that, right? So like,
right.
would you be able to categorize that in a report? Like, this is how much money. Like, would you be able to categorize how much money you brought in from pre and post scan? Because that's really what I'm looking to do. Is like,
hmm
because I do them all myself, and like
right.
obviously I'd like somebody else to do them, but I do them all myself because I have a lot of factory software because I do more on the service side than on the collision side some weeks, like programming modules and diagnosing cars. I do that,
hmm
I do that a lot too, so I have a lot of OE software. My question is there an account I can set up in CCC one backend where it just tracks my pre and post scans, or anytime I have to scan a card or put any diag in there, so I can track, just how much money I bring in on the collision side each year with pre and post
Ex
scans and diag.
Exactly. And I was going to say, and I know I'm diving a little more into our line item mapping. I was going to
That's
talk more
okay.
about, but we're here. You really got two ways of going about it. So it's almost a matter of which way you think you like. So to answer your question directly, yes, we could set up a labor account that actually says scans maybe, or pre and post scan, whatever you want to call
Yep.
it. And then I just to show you, let's pretend we were going to do that. Let's go ahead and
Yep.
click on next. All right, let's go ahead and pick line 63. Now, the downside to doing this, you have to do it one at a time.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Next.
anyone who's PDR, they're hating life on this. Go ahead
Yeah.
and click on next. Click on the drop down. And this is where if we had something that actually said scans, labor scans,
Okay.
we don't really right now, but if we did, we would have been able to dump it into that.
But maybe we can dump
Um,
it into a diagnostic labor too, because that's, I mean, to me
there you go.
would be similar, because that's I'm the only one doing that. So.
Yep. And then it's saying how much of the money do you want to transfer over? Well, all of it, really, right? So
Yep.
75. How many hours do we want to give out? And that's where you have a choice. Do you really want to do the exact math and go,
Mm,
okay, 75 divided by
no.
whatever, or just throw in like one?
Okay. That's
I
what I
don't
was
know.
thinking. Throwing one.
It's,
Okay. And then the
yeah.
operation, what do you do for that? Does it matter?
I have a lot of people who just leave it blank, yeah.
Okay.
But if you want to get that specific, I suppose you could have.
And then you got.
Again, all on the back end.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then you got to do that again.
You got to do that again. So let's do a quick save just so you can just so I can prove my point.
Yep.
Point blank, it stayed alone. Okay, the line to the front end, everything looks kind of cool. Back over here on the labor, now you'll see I do have diagnostic,
So
and
now
yes, as reporting wise, we'll be able to see it.
so
hmm
now I have to do like a labor assignment on that.
Yep.
Okay, so which point I could select myself for that, right? And then,
Well, we've already got you. It's probably going to give you an error, but if you tried, watch, like, let's try to pick you. So we can go over here, select diagnostic,
oh,
because I
that's
think
right.
we've only
Yeah,
got,
yeah. We only got one, I think.
you're
Oops.
probably going to get an error. Yeah, we've only got the one because we didn't do the second.
Oh, where is it showing up? Because I must be missing
Oh,
it.
probably further down at the bottom, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought it just grouped it by diagnostic. Sorry. Oh, it did select it. Gotcha. Sorry, I
Hmm.
missed that. Okay, and then it's selected now. So try to save and close.
Hmm.
Ooh, okay.
So I know it's a whole paragraph worth, but let me summarize it. In short, there's already a labor assignment for you. It wants you to edit that one and
Oh, and
add
add it
to
to
it.
that one, so you're not making more than one. Got it.
Hmm.
So at
Yep.
that point, you'd close this,
Hmm.
and then you'd go to my technician team, him, and then I go to edit.
Yep. Hmm.
And then if I wanted to add it, I would just do the same thing. Select diagnostic, save
Yep.
and close.
And just
Okay.
like that, you're good.
Cool.
So let's talk about it. It wasn't hard, but I kind of feel like it was a couple of extra clicks
Yeah.
to my liking, to be quite honest. What else could we do? We could have left the estimate tab alone. We could have stayed away from sales adjustment. And see back over here on part, and well, you already know what I'm going to tell you, I think. Um, I think what we should have done was
Receive
do
a. Yep.
line item mapping, code it to diagnostics or code it to scans, code it to something, and have it point there. And if we uncheck the last column in line item mapping, and you've been real patient, I know I'm talking about it and you haven't
That's
seen
okay.
it, or you maybe have, but if I uncheck that last one, we don't have to quote unquote receive it on this side.
Oh, I was gonna ask you that because, like hazardous waste for example, right? Like I'll
Hmm.
do it. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'll be like, all right, let's do a new invoice. I'll go to in-house stock. Like I'm just I didn't know if I was doing anything right, but I want to do a few things just so you could tell me if it's wrong or not. But like
Hmm.
I do in-house stock. I'll grab like hazardous waste removal, right? Um,
Right?
which I don't even see it on here.
I know I don't either. Huh.
Yeah, it's weird. I might have
Uh,
to add that. It's weird. But I would grab hazardous waste, put the total of $4 in on
hmm.
account, and then I'd put like a random number in, like 000 or something. And my like, I just don't know how you do that
You're
normally.
heading on the right track, but I
Okay.
think we're going to go visit line item mapping because we probably have to now.
Okay.
So, normally what we would have done is we would have told you put in the RO number, okay,
Okay.
instead of like some bogus number. I mean,
Yeah,
it's same
because it makes
philosophy,
you
but
do
still.
something. Yep. Yep.
We would have had you leave it on COD because here's the deal. Eventually, you're going to start exporting this stuff from your CCC
To
to
QuickBooks, and it's
QuickBooks.
gonna make it look
And
like it's like owed if you put it on the account.
it, Correct. And more to the point, if you had left it on COD, it doesn't even show up in the bucket that allows it to export to QuickBooks. So there's not even an if, ands, or buts. It's not eligible.
Okay.
So we're not polluting our QuickBooks with junk.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
And then invoice total. Well, that's where it comes into play with you. So back in the day, my dad was like, no, no. I mean, especially if you're paying anybody on commission, to see that many 100%, you're like, well, shoot, I just bloated my GP and it's not real
Right.
right, and I'm
Yeah,
paying them on
it's
GP.
fake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fake. So he wanted stuff to be costed out like at least 20% GP, 30% GP, make it semi-real, right?
Right.
So there's that to be made, which means we probably would have changed this more, to like a 30% or something like that. But you were on the right track. That is exactly what I would have said. But let's visit line item mapping, and we're gonna do an example. So we'll X
Okay.
out of here.
And just not save this, right? No.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And let's go ahead and we can save and close or just minimize. Probably save and close anyway because of the change we're gonna make. We'll come over
Yep.
here,
Figure.
so configure, and then down to profiles. Okay, double click on the main profile. All right, go all the way down. We're looking for the gold door, so it's like 3/4 of the way down, maybe. Oh, a little bit up, a little bit up. There it is, the gold door. All
Oh
right,
yeah.
so click on
Okay.
it. All right, and so basically, I believe hazardous waste is on here, and so tell you what, let's click right there. But if this was parts code table, I would tell you never to do that if there was a parts code out of whack. But let's see if we can find hazardous.
Yep.
Okay, so hazardous waste removal. So what we're saying is that, okay, Actually, we do have it right. I think it's those files were already existing or something. I don't know, something happened to them. But see this last column right here. So if there's dollars, we're saying point it to hazardous waste. If there's labor, we're saying don't do anything. Typically there's no labor, but had this been cover car, point it to paint, right?
Yeah, that
Even
makes
though it's
sense.
going to be
Map
in
it to
body.
paint. Yep, yep.
Over here, it's saying, hey, do you want it to show up in the parts tab at all? If we check mark it, yes. If we don't check mark it, which is what I would have done on this one, no check mark it, basically it doesn't show up. And
Okay,
that's what I would have done for your scans.
okay.
Okay.
So my
So
question is, why is it showing up when I'm going to close an RO? Is it because it's being added to an estimate incorrectly? Like it's because I usually add it as a manual line. That's probably the issue.
I think so, because it's totally about the description. So I was looking at the description to see if it was slightly off or
Yep.
something, but it's not. But it's looking for this exact description.
So if
So
I
do me a
type
favor.
that in exactly into an estimate, it would pick
Uh,
that up. Like, because I don't know the part codes. I'm not good enough with CCC to know all those part codes.
well, we'll come over here to part codes. All
Okay.
right. Don't
Yep.
don't click on the gray header, so leave it alone. It should be near the top. It actually is not. So maybe we need to add it. Let's see, scroll down a little bit. I don't know, maybe it's
I'm
somewhere
not
down
good with
below and
this
I
stuff.
just don't see
Every
it.
estimator I know uses all this stuff, and I need to get better about it.
Yeah. And if you start handwriting stuff in, I totally get it. I mean, it's faster, right? Especially if you're a fast typer.
I
Tell you
am.
what,
That's the problem.
let's add it just so we have it at least, and I know the description's right. So how about like on, let's see, I think I'm gonna have you add a 9.2. So lowercase a and then 9.2. Yep, over here, exactly the way we saw it on the other one, hazardous waste removal.
Was it all caps on there, or is it just
Actually, case doesn't matter so much. It's more about the spelling and the spaces and the hyphens. So
okay? I just don't know if that
yeah.
looked wrong.
All right. What
Okay.
do you can leave that alone.
Okay.
Leave that alone.
Whoops.
And then
Okay. Yep.
I'd probably leave that alone too, to be quite honest. And then what do you normally charge?
$5 usually.
Okay. Is it usually taxable or
You
non-tax?
know, it's funny because I usually tax it, but then other estimators don't tax it. I usually just tax it.
Okay.
I don't
All
know
right.
in New York if you're supposed to or not, but
Yeah, I'm not
okay.
sure. Yep, click OK. All right, so um,
Oops.
I don't want to throw it out of whack, but it should. I mean, technically, it should show up here. Once we click right here and throw it back in code order. Okay,
Yep.
there it is. Okay, we're gonna do a quick save and close. All right, let's go back into that file that you were just on.
Oh, you can go to recent. Yep.
hmm
Okay.
Okay, so we'll come over here. Okay, and just so you know the trick, not that I expect you to start memorizing stuff, but if you were
A
to put
9.2.
like the lowercase, yeah, A 9.2, it should pop up right there.
Cool.
Cool deal. We'll do a quick save.
I'm wondering if I should
All
just
right,
like put a legend on my desk or something and just get to know
there you go.
them.
All right, we'll come over here. And so technically it shouldn't even be in here. Like, let's go ahead and see here. So let's see if it's down at the bottom. Or if it is, it shouldn't make us want to receive it. So let's do new invoice. It should not pop up.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yep, sure enough, it's not there. And that's how it's supposed to work.
Okay. So like I could do the same thing with my urethane kit because I
Mm-hmm.
mean I'd rather just put all my urethane kits into a group because I buy
Mm-hmm.
urethane, right? So it's like how much money I spent on urethane this year, I'd know,
Right.
and then how much money I
Mm-hmm.
get paid for urethane this year or this quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd rather just do that and just make sure, okay, I'm okay on my urethane. Then like put in exactly how much I used, how much it cost me. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of my own glass, so like we have the big sausage pack of urethane that, we could do one windshield in it, or one windshield with it, or do 8 quarter glasses. It's like it's all depends. So,
Pretty cool. Okay.
yep.
So yeah, that and I was getting back to your pre and post scan and how you want to track it. If we created something called scans, we could have pointed all this stuff exactly to that.
So we have
And
to make a
you're,
category for scans then, right? Is that the
mhm,
okay?
yep.
Okay. Is this like too off topic to show me how to do that real quick? The category?
Oh, no, it's okay. We'll go ahead
Okay.
and get out.
All right, cool. And then we got to get back out of this too.
Yeah, we'll
Just
have to get
minimize
out
it.
of this
Okay.
one. So we'll come up here, profiles. All right, we'll double click on that one. Yep. All right, and then scroll down. Let's see, keep going, keep going. A little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, so right about here, sales parts. Okay, and this is where, scroll down a little bit. I really don't think we have it. Yeah, so you would click to edit and add, and however you want to call it, scans, diagnostics.
Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just hit OK.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Please map the new account and accounting connections.
And just
Okay.
like that, we're good.
Okay, so if I now let's say I want to put a scan in that category, right? Like so. Let's see. Go to the estimate. So let's say, how would I add this as a? So I would have to.
Oh, sorry, we have to go back to line item mapping. So we'll
Okay.
get out of here.
Yep.
Oh, we're already right here. We'll double
Yep.
click on this one. All right, let's go to part codes just so I can kind of see. Like maybe you'll start using it a little more, right?
Yeah,
So,
I plan to do so. So we can map. Can we map these part codes to those?
mm-hmm.
Like okay.
Yep. So that's the exact description. Just kind of take note of it. Basically, pre space scan space vehicle.
Yep.
So I think we're good to go. Scroll down a little bit more.
Those are easy to.
So we wouldn't do it from here, but we would do it from the gold
Yep, the gold
door
door, the line
deal.
map. Yep. Okay, so now
Yep. It's possible it's here already. I don't know, but
post repair scan, pre repair scan, but that's not the same spelling, right? So
yep.
you wanna edit
And
like do you
I
usually?
see more. Can we scroll down? It's your
Yep.
choice. I think we should just add more
Okay.
to cover our bases because who's to say that Geico one day writes it down as, pre-hyphen repair scan. You're
Yeah.
covered,
I don't know why it's not letting me click add.
Oh, it should be way down at the bottom. Sorry, I think it
Oh,
did, but
whoops! I hit it too many
there you
times.
go.
Sorry about that. I can delete
Hmm.
these two, right? Well, I'm gonna
Yep.
need two anyways, right? So okay.
Hmm.
So it was pre-repair scan or no pre?
Oh,
Damn, I can't remember.
yeah,
Pre-repair scan
yeah.
and then post-repair scan, and then part account.
And
We're
it,
gonna choose shot
where's our
scan
scan?
slash diagnostics, right?
There we go. Hmm.
And then
Now,
labor account, no
your
change.
choice if you do want it to show up in the parts tab or not. So,
So it'll
pause it.
automatically go there if you don't, right?
Hmm.
You
Well, no,
don't.
no, it'll automatically go regardless.
Okay.
But here's the deal. If we leave that check marked, if I go to the parts tab, I would literally see it, show up at the bottom. But of course, hazardous waste did too. So I guess that's not a good example. But
Okay.
more to the point, if I click on new invoice, those are going to show as not being received.
Gotcha.
And
So
that could throw your percentage off, and it kind of depends on how you
yeah.
see that.
So I want to probably leave them. I want to probably leave them off just so they just go directly into where they need to go, right?
And they go where they need to go. It won't throw off our received percentage on
Yep.
the part
It's gonna.
production schedule. Hmm.
Okay.
The downside to doing that, let's say that you truly do use your part status list or report that we have as some sort of guide for what still needs to be done to a car.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah.
it wouldn't necessarily pop up on there because of how we're coding it.
And you might want to
Um,
know if it's been done or not. But let me ask you this: if I do
mhm,
develop a checklist like you told me I should do for Subaru, can I put the
mhm,
pre and post scans on my
mhm.
checklist? Like, is there a before checklist and an after checklist that you can add in as phases? I guess I'm not.
Oh yeah,
Okay, I'm not too
definitely, yeah.
privy to the checklist, so okay,
Hmm.
cool. Because I want to make sure it's checked off, like it's a quality control thing. But like as it stands right now, and like you said, we're gonna grow, and other people are. I'm gonna be relying on other people, so I need to be like thinking more fail safe, not what's happening now, because I can't do
Right,
everything, But right now, it's like I make sure I got a pre and a post, like.
right.
But Hmm.
So if we didn't, so yeah, and that's where some people it would have got caught. It would have got caught because the percentage is off. They can see it's not received, and then the performance tab would have said, "Hey, what's up? It's not received." But if we had got our checklist going on, we're kind of covered in that way.
Right. Okay. So you
Hmm.
could use this if you're not using the checklist. You could use this as a fail safe, because when somebody's doing it, it means they're receiving it as an invoice. They're putting the RO number in there. They're costing
Hmm.
it to zero, and then they're making it look like an invoice. So at least it's acknowledged that it's been done, right?
Hmm.
Because like if somebody
Right.
checking in parts checks that in, it's a problem if it didn't really get done. It's like why you shouldn't have done that, right? So
Right. All
yeah,
right. Well,
okay, that makes sense. I know enough about that to know what I need to know. Uh,
okay.
yep, cool.
Cool deal. So labor, let's keep going on labor. So I'll take over a little bit.
Yep, go ahead.
Um, we'll come over here, go to the labor dashboard. All right, so labor dashboard, it does have some cool things going for it, but let's discuss it. Um, Unassigned or unallocated, basically, 15 ROs, not 100% assigned out. Truly, there's a better way to manage this, and that would be production schedule. I can't really tell if something's here or not here. I can't tell its status because I don't have a column
Yep.
for it, and that's why I think it's a little dangerous to go off of this. Plus another reason. But anyways, production schedule is better way. Right now, at least, your people are not clocking in and out. So this bucket,
Yeah, I
and
gotta
this
figure out
bucket.
how to. I think there's an app I gotta download on a tablet or something, but I'll get that figured out. Yep.
Yeah, and the program comes with it, so it is indeed free, just to give you a quick heads up in case you do
Cool.
decide
Yep.
to download it. Oh, okay, well, I'm not real sure where your CCC is, but typically it would have been CCC, and then there's like three things. You can install the program or
In the C
install the
drive.
time card
Oh, okay.
in well, wherever your CCC resides. I take it it's over here somewhere on the
I'm not
server.
sure to be honest with you.
Oh,
Because like the way I downloaded this CCC was like a link that I got from Eric there, the support guy. He just sent me like a link,
uh-huh.
so I've been downloading it on other computers just using a link.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that's good or bad.
it's good. And
Okay.
gosh, I'm just
Can
not
we
quite
search
sure
for it
where.
maybe? Search
Yeah,
the C
let's.
drive. Okay.
Okay, it's not quite seeing it. Time
Um,
card.
is that what it's
Let's go with the
called in there?
CCC.
Okay.
Well, it would have been CCC,
Okay.
but the folders, and I don't quite see.
Okay.
Let's see.
And this is searching everything, right? All the C drive, the computer, everything.
Should be searching just about everything except maybe not the networks. I don't know if you've got it sitting on some
Uh,
other
I
area.
don't. Is that something I can get from CCC? Like, can
Oh,
they send me a download link? You think if I don't have it?
here we go. Well, I
Okay.
think we might have stumbled across it. So programs.
CCC
Well,
one.
so I should have seen something else called time card,
Okay.
basically, and I just don't see it, so now I'm really not sure where,
Okay.
but
I'm wondering if I
I
call
guess I
support,
shouldn't.
they could probably send me something or help me out, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking that because I've had the other version for so long, like, I've literally been downloading it using a link, not like a CD or anything. Like, it seems kind of backdoorish, So it's just probably wrong. So I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, but those would come in handy then at that point. So what's the big reason why I got you here with this one?
Over allocated. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just to explain, and I think you might know already, but in our system, let's say that you assign labor on a line and that line gets deleted, be it overlap, supplement, whatever. But basically the line is not there anymore, or it got reduced, right? It was
Okay.
6 hours, it's now 5 hours. The system won't on its own say, hey, let me unassign it. Let me reduce the labor. As such, the potential to overpay people is very real. So let's talk about this. This one, you definitely want to tackle it on payroll day at the very least. So even if you don't do this every day, payroll day at the very least, okay?
Yep.
The only acceptable labor account that can hang out in there is that one, part cleanup.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? We got like that, like the example I forced, we got to take care of. So yours is looking pretty clean, right now. Um, but you want to take care of it because again, now is the system smart enough to keep track that it got overpaid and therefore create a back flag? Yes, but it's never a good conversation, right? You're like,
Right.
hey, by the way, I'm going to take away a few hours from you. So how do we take care of it? You click right here on edit. You deselect all to get like back to square one, if you will. You scroll all the way down to the bottom. Okay. And this is something I would expect your on-site person to kind of cover a little more. Um, we look for a dash dash line, and a dash dash line is one of three things: a part cleanup, okay, that we added the line. In this case, we did that sales adjustment, so we kind of converted things over,
Yep.
or truly it was a deleted line. And I have to tell you, whenever you see stuff like add for clear coat, it's a sure thing that it got deleted, but it probably got added back in, somewhere up, above on the system.
Okay.
So you qualified the line. In this case, this one's good to go. But if it wasn't, if it truly was deleted, you highlight it, you delete it. Okay.
Yep.
Now that we're back at square one, you go back and you're like, okay, let me assign the rest of the labor out. It looks at the system with fresh eyes, picks up on differences and whatnot. Save and close, and you can see we're out of there.
Yep. Cool.
Okay. So I kind of gave you the lowdown on it, and surely one example isn't the end all be all, but in short, again, on payroll day, and that's the only acceptable account.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, questions on that? All
Um,
right.
no, I think that's it.
Okay, we'll swing on over here to production schedule. So as you may know, yeah, labor percentage of labor assigned out on a job. Whenever you see partials like that, sure we did something, and that's where I'm better off going into the file to add. Remember that little window we got? Add, modify, append, whatever you want to do, but edit that in that particular labor assignment and go from there. Um, Whenever you see a zero, though, you might be like, ah, I just forgot to assign labor. No problem. New labor
Oh,
assignment,
cool.
go
Yeah,
for
right.
it.
The sales guy said that you can pretty much work right from your production board. That's what he said, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can do so much more from here.
Cool.
And when we do assign labor, if you hover your mouse over the little eye, sure enough, I can see who's on the job down below.
Yep.
Okay. Um, if they are part of the production team or a production meeting, or you just want to give them a list of their cars, here you
Yeah.
go.
Okay, and you can do it by technician. Yep. I printed this out the other morning and just walked around the parking lot and just made notes on it, like, because I have like 25 cars and I don't have them all added yet, you know. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
Nice.
cool.
Okay, good deal. As far as labor goes, that's about all I was going to show you. And I know we ran pretty, I didn't think I'd talk that much about labor, but we
That's
definitely,
cool. So we got a good amount done. Can I ask you what, like, do you have 4 minutes left, or are you like gotta go
sure.
now? Okay.
No, no, I got more.
So this is like a curveball question too, and obviously just tell me there's no way or you don't know, whatever. Like, don't worry about a good answer for this one because it's kind of convoluted. But
Mm-hmm.
we own two shops, so like we have mechanical, first full service mechanical. Like I have a whole crew down at like a mile away. We have a building a mile
Mm-hmm.
down the street, doing full service mechanical. So my question is, I don't necessarily need to get paid sublet, right? Like some companies will actually pay me 25% markup sublet, which I think is pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool of them. They're like the good companies that work well with me. And I'm like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
even expect it, but they're like, you got two registration numbers, like we don't care, right? So
Right.
what I kind of want to do is like we run two different softwares, right? Like we run CCC at the collision shop, and we run
Mm-hmm.
program called Techmetric at the automotive shop. So like they're two separate books, same tax ID number, right? So we combine them in our QuickBooks. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of convoluted, but basically, I got guys down at the other shop, and we're looking at like production. We give them production bonuses and stuff. So like, if I send them a body shop car, let's say like for example, I got this Gladiator here, right? So this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this Gladiator, and this one has a lot of mechanical on it, right? We got to do mechanical on it before we can even figure out if it's going to total body wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Got it.
if is there a way that some body shops are doing like that have a mechanical shop? Is there a way that they're like taking the labor hours mechanically and kind of taking them away, like putting them in a labor assignment and then kind of putting them at zero, but keeping them track of them so we can bill them out at our automotive shop and assign the tech there to them? Because I'm not going to do it in CCC. I'm going to bill it out of my mechanical shop and kind of apply payment there on that invoice and then apply the additional on the CCC estimate. So if you will, I either got to delete them off the CCC estimate labor wise, or I just got to zero them out on here so they're still kind of there, and then put them on the other estimate. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to cost them both correctly to each system, because like there's some
Okay.
mechanical items I do myself, and then I would just be able to put the labor assignment, my name on it, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm. Would you, so you're, but I think you threw me off when you said that you would have actually, zeroed out the labor hours, like the mechanical hours from here, so you could bill it separately on the
Yeah,
other one?
yeah,
Okay.
that's yeah. I guess I said that because that's what I'm doing now. Like if I'm finishing up an estimate for the body shop, like let's say a
Hmm.
customer's doing like they're coming to pay me, right? Like the final bill. I would take the
Hmm.
mechanical items right off the estimate so that they could just pay for the collision repairs, but they're paying for the whole thing. But like I'm applying the check they give me or the credit card they give me, whatever. I'm applying
Hmm.
partially that payment to the collision, and then I'm applying the details for the same payment and on my automotive side too. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to. We don't do. I'm not in the same building like I used to be, so I don't cash all the mechanical through CCC because we do it
Right.
through another system. So.
So I worked with a one shop in MSO where they had one sublet, one mechanical shop that did all the mechanical work for all the other eight, I think it was, locations that were sitting out there.
Yep.
And what we did is they really, in their case, they wanted to keep it truly, truly separate, like it was their sublet shop. And that gave them the liberty, especially because they were getting dinged quite a bit by the insurance companies or trying to get lowballed. That gave them the ability to go, "Oh, yeah, I'm marking it up 30%,
Right.
you
Right.
know. I mean, so they would take it all and do that. What they did was they created, I helped them at least do it. We created a vendor named that shop, that
Okay.
whatever that sublet shop was,
Okay.
so we would receive, all of that stuff against it, or I suppose you could do a technician too. That would have been one way
Okay.
to do it as well. And that kind of keeps you all still here, where if you got the money, we're not necessarily divvying it out. And then the other side, like the sublet side, the sublet shop, they would actually create an RO where they're almost keeping track of everything that they're billing out to you. And
Okay.
so one line would be like RO 2001,
Yep.
this was done, or this is how much it's going to be altogether.
Okay.
That way they could give you one great big invoice at the end. It seems a little convoluted. I don't know. Either way is not a good way. So, but yeah, I don't have the best answer for you on that. I just know that's how we tackled it over
Okay.
there.
Yeah, and another thing I thought about doing was like you said, a sublet thing, where it's like
Hmm.
we subletted that out, and then on the flip side over down the street, I could still put put the labor assignments to that tech so that tech could you know at least have those labor hours billed so like his
Hmm.
production looks good. But yeah, the only thing it messes up is like the numbers because if you put him, he did a 6 hour front end on this Gladiator. He did all the labor on it, and then it's like the labor was costed out to zero because I'm billing it out through here. So it's just, I guess I just got to really think hard about how to do that, to make sure, because
Hmm.
I don't want a technician to not want to work on a body shop car because, man, it's making me look less productive every week because of the way they're doing it, the way they're costing it. So
Right.
it might
Yep.
make more.
So sorry, don't have
Yeah,
the
that's okay.
best answer.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries.
Okay. Well, tell you what, we didn't even really get too much to production, but I know we got a few more time slots, carved out for us there.
Yep, yep.
So I'll send you out a meeting invite so we can definitely concentrate on some stuff tomorrow and then hopefully on Monday too, okay? Or
Okay, sounds
definitely
good.
Monday.
Yep, thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Take
later.
care.
Yep,
Okay.
bye.
Bye-bye.